Ever have one of those days? You sit down at your desk at 9 a.m., fire off a few emails, jump into 2 meetings, juggle a flood of Slack messages, and in the blink of an eye, it's 5 p.m. You're dog-tired, but when you look back, you realize the most important thing you had to do today is still sitting there, untouched. Most of us are working like we're sprinting on a hamster wheel. We feel the burn, we see the blur, but we haven't actually moved an inch. We mistake this exhaustion for effort and confuse the constant motion with progress. This is the illusion of productivity. In his bestseller Deep Work, author Cal Newport gives this kind of frantic, pointless activity a name. It's shallow work. These are the tasks that make you feel incredibly busy, but contribute almost nothing to your personal growth or career advancement. We're passively reacting to an endless stream of trivialities. The data is a gut punch. The average office worker is interrupted every 10.5 minutes, and over 42% admit they rarely get more than an hour of uninterrupted focus time. How did we get here? As Deep Work points out, the value of much of today's knowledge work is fuzzy and hard to measure. Unlike a carpenter who can finish a table and say, "Look, this is what I made today," our output is often an invisible report or a digital strategy. Because we can't point to a tangible result, we've started using busyness itself as a proxy for our importance. Instant replies and back-to-back meetings have become our badges of honor. We're no longer chasing real output, but the feeling of being needed. We'd rather drown in the chaos of busy work than face the soul-searching question, did anything I did today actually matter? This endless cycle of shallow work makes us feel like we're perpetually stuck on that hamster wheel. But what's the force that shoved us onto the wheel in the first place? And why can't we seem to get off? Who stole your attention? The answer might send a chill down your spine. We can't stop because an invisible hand is constantly spinning the wheel faster and faster. That hand is the attention economy. It's far too easy and unfair to blame our inability to focus entirely on a lack of personal willpower. That's like asking an unarmed civilian to take on a fully equipped army. You have to understand that we are living inside a meticulously designed, multi-trillion-dollar commercial system where we aren't the customers. Our attention is the product being bought and sold. Tristan Harris, a former design ethicist at Google, blew the whistle on this years ago. He says that the phone in your pocket is a slot machine. Every time you pull down to refresh your feed, it's like pulling the lever on a slot machine. You have no idea what you'll get. A friend's like, a piece of gossip, a funny video. This intermittent, variable reward exploits the brain's most primitive impulses, using the exact same psychological principles that get people addicted to gambling. The goal of these apps was never to make your life better. It was to suck your eyeballs and your time dry. They use algorithms to feed you the content that triggers the strongest emotional reactions, especially anger and outrage, because those emotions are the best at gluing us to the screen. You think you're freely surfing the web, but in reality, every step you take is being calculated by a massive AI model that knows your weaknesses better than you do. So, you see, the reason we're drowning in shallow work is that there's a colossal system constantly manufacturing distractions and slicing our time into worthless confetti. This isn't a failure of willpower. We are up against an environment that has been expertly engineered to dismantle our focus. The brain's switching cost, the true price of distraction. Alright, so we know the thief is the attention economy, constantly interrupting us and trapping us on the hamster wheel of shallow work. But what's the actual damage to our brains every time we get distracted? Do you ever feel like your brain has become a restless monkey, constantly jumping from one branch to another, never able to sit still? The ancients had a term for this: monkey mind. It's a phrase that feels tailor-made for our era. Modern science has put a cold, hard number on that metaphor. Studies have found that when you're deep in a mentally demanding task, even a quick glance at your phone can cost you up to 23 minutes to get back to your original state of deep focus. 23 minutes. That's the price of a single peek at a text message. The scientific concept behind this is called attention residue. Your focus isn't like a light switch you can instantly flick on and off. It's more like honey. It's sticky. When you switch from task A to task B, a part of your cognitive capacity remains stuck to task A, severely hobbling your performance on task B. You think you're multitasking, but that's a delusion. In reality, you're just forcing your brain to operate in a state of continuous, inefficient, partial attention. Now, let's tie these three ideas together. We feel like we're on a hamster wheel because we spend most of our time on shallow work. We're stuck in shallow work because the attention economy thief is constantly interrupting us with every tool at its disposal. And every single interruption costs us nearly half an hour of cognitive function due to the brain's switching cost. This is the predicament of our time. The heaviest price we pay isn't the 30 seconds we spend on our phone. It's the following 25 minutes of fractured thinking and crippled creativity. We are personally engineering our workdays into a cognitive catastrophe. Chapter 2. Ancient Wisdom, Modern Antidote. Now that we have the diagnosis, it's time for the prescription. Luckily, this modern disease is an old ailment, and the cure has been around for thousands of years. Not in a new app, but in ancient wisdom. Stoicism, your inner citadel. Let's start with Stoicism, a school of philosophy from ancient Greece and Rome that teaches you how to maintain inner calm and strength in a chaotic world. Its core tool is a mind-bendingly simple yet powerful mental model, the dichotomy of control. In short, you divide the world into two categories: things you can control and things you can't. You can't control the weather, what other people think of you, or whether a notification pops up on your phone. But you have 100% control over your own thoughts and choices. This is the perfect antidote for our age of distraction. Think about it, your phone buzzes. That's an external event, outside your control. But the thought that pops into your head, "I have to check that right now," is an internal judgment. Putting down your work to pick up the phone is an internal choice. Stoicism teaches us to insert a half-second pause between the stimulus and the response. In that half-second, apply the dichotomy of control. Ask yourself, is this mine to control? No, it's an external event, so how do I choose to respond? You can choose, I will finish what I'm doing first. With that one simple thought, you've just snipped the puppet string. You are no longer a passive marionette, but an active master. Every time you do this, you're adding another brick to your mental fortress. Slowly but surely, you can build an unbreachable inner citadel that no external storm can shake. Mindfulness, forging your focus. If Stoicism is your shield, then the Zen practice of mindfulness is the gym where you forge the iron of your attention. At its core, mindfulness is simply paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. This is the perfect cure for our modern fear of being bored. We can't stand a minute of downtime anymore. Waiting for an elevator or standing in line is an immediate cue to pull out our phones. Our brains have been spoiled by high-intensity stimuli and have lost the ability to be at peace with boredom. Many people get frustrated with meditation. I tried it, they say, but my mind is a chaotic mess of thoughts I can't stop. I'm a total failure at it. This is the single biggest misunderstanding. Imagine a glass of muddy water. If you want it to become clear, do you shake it violently? No, you simply let it be still. and the sediment will naturally settle. Our mind is that glass of water. Mindfulness practice is the act of letting it sit, and that chaotic mess of thoughts, that's not failure. On the contrary, that's the workout beginning. The goal of mindfulness isn't to have a blank mind. That's impossible. The real practice happens in the moment you realize you've drifted. When you sit down and decide to place your attention on your breath, your mind might wander to what's for dinner. The moment you recognize, hey, I'm distracted, and then gently, without judgment, guide your attention back to your breath, you have successfully completed one full rep of the mindfulness exercise. Every time your mind wanders, it's not a failure. It's a precious opportunity to train. Each time you pull your attention back, you are strengthening your focus muscle. Suddenly, all the boring moments in life become your free mental gym. Waiting for the elevator, feel your feet on the ground. Standing in line, observe your breath. Even when you're walking, try going without music and just mull over a single work problem. This is called productive meditation, and it's a fantastic way to train for deep thought. Become a craftsman, sculpt your life. Theory isn't enough. We need to get our hands dirty. Deep work isn't some mystical secret. It's a way of life that the greatest minds in history have always practiced. Timetables of geniuses. When we look at the history of groundbreaking work, we find two titans with wildly different methods, Charles Darwin and Isaac Newton. Their contrasting styles reveal a crucial, often overlooked, secret to producing work of the highest quality. Darwin, the methodical naturalist who gave us On the Origin of Species, was a master of sustainable rhythm. His day was not a marathon of endless toil. Instead, he worked in just 3 focused 90-minute sessions, a mere 4.5 hours of dedicated research time. But magic was in the structure surrounding it. These intense bursts of thinking were punctuated by non-negotiable long walks. After lunch came a nap, followed by more reflection and another walk. On the other extreme, you have Isaac Newton, the immersive madman. While writing his masterpiece, the Principia Mathematica, he was known to work for 18 to 19 hours a day. He would become so consumed that he'd forget to eat or sleep, his entire universe collapsing into the elegant equations dancing in his mind. Though their approaches seem polar opposites, they both mastered the art of creating a sanctuary for focus, a sacred time and space completely sealed off from the outside world. But the lesson isn't just about focus. The deeper, more profound insight lies in how they manage their energy. Darwin's walks and naps weren't him slacking off. They were an essential and productive part of his cognitive process. This is where our modern hustle culture gets it wrong. We're conditioned to believe that more time worked automatically equals more work done. Darwin's routine completely demolishes this idea. His rest wasn't a break from his work. It was an integral part of it. In his book Deep Work, Cal Newport provides a foundational formula for achievement. High-quality work output, time spent, x intensity of focus. The high-quality work output equals the time you spend multiplied by how intensely you focus during that time. This makes perfect sense. The value you create is a product of the time you dedicate and how deeply you concentrate during that time. But this formula is missing a critical, game-changing element. I propose we add a multiplier, a secret sauce that amplifies the entire equation. That is quality of recovery. High-quality work output, time spent x intensity of focus, x quality of recovery. Why is recovery a multiplier? Because the quality of your rest directly determines the quality of your focus. Think of it this way. Intensity of focus isn't a constant you can just summon on command. It's a finite mental resource that depletes with use. Without proper recovery, your ability to focus plummets. You can sit at your desk for 8 hours, but if your recovery is poor, your intensity might be so low that you only produce 1 or 2 hours of valuable work. High-quality recovery, like Darwin's walks, a good night's sleep, or intentional downtime, isn't passive. It's during these periods that your brain gets to work consolidating memories, connecting disparate ideas, and solving problems in the background. Your mind is like a muscle. The work in the gym creates the stimulus for growth, but the actual growth happens during rest. Forcing more hours out of a depleted mind is like trying to build muscle without ever letting it heal. You don't get stronger, you just get injured. Newton's obsessive sprint was legendary, but it was also an unsustainable burn. Darwin's rhythmic approach, however, was a lifelong marathon. The quality of his recovery wasn't just a luxury. It was the engine that powered his focus, day in and day out, for decades. So, if you want to elevate the quality of your work, don't just manage your time. You must ruthlessly protect and manage your recovery. It's not about working less, but about recognizing that strategic rest is the most productive work you can do. The 4 disciplines for the modern mind. So, how do we do this in practice? In Deep Work, Newport gives us 4 golden rules to help us become craftsmen of our own attention. Rule 1. Build a startup ritual. Just like a craftsman lays out their tools before starting, create your own ritual. For example, every morning from 9:00 to 10:30 in a specific corner of your office. With all notifications off and a cup of coffee at hand, you begin. This ritual acts like a switch that tells your brain, it's time to do the real work. Rule 2. Embrace boredom. This is like a craftsman sharpening their tools daily. It's the mindfulness practice we discussed. When you're in line or waiting for a ride, don't reach for your phone. Intentionally train your brain to be comfortable without stimulus. Newport argues that if you can't tolerate 5 minutes of boredom, you'll never be able to handle hours of deep focus. Rule 3. Quit social media. This sounds extreme, but Newport's core idea is to conduct a ruthless audit of every tool you use. Ask yourself, is this tool genuinely helping me? Or is it just wasting my life? The goal isn't to become a hermit, but to go from being a slave to these platforms to being their master. For instance, set a specific time each day to check your feeds, rather than being dragged around by an endless stream of notifications. Rule 4. Drain the shallows. This takes courage. Learn to say no to the shallow work that looks busy, but creates no value. You don't have to be confrontational with your boss. You can frame it differently. Boss, to ensure I can deliver the highest quality work on that critical project you assigned me, would it be okay if I batch process all my emails after 4 p.m.? Most managers care more about results than whether you're online 24/7. Give your time a health check. To make this crystal clear, let's do a simple exercise. No spreadsheets needed, just a piece of paper and a pen, or a blank document. Take 15 minutes and give yourself an honest time audit to see where your day is really going. Step 1. Write down everything you do in a typical day. Don't gloss over anything. Be as detailed as possible from the moment you wake up to when you clock out. Examples: replying to emails, attending the weekly team meeting, writing a project proposal, scrolling through TikTok, chatting with co-workers, handling messages in various group chat. Step 2. Now sort these activities into 3 categories: hardcore work, admin chore work, and time-wasting activities. And hardcore work is that the tasks that require real brain power, get you promoted, and can't be easily done by someone else. Examples: designing a new product, writing a crucial strategy report, solving a tough technical problem. Admin and chores: the low brain power, menial tasks that anyone could do. Examples: filing expense reports, sending and receiving packages, attending pointless meetings with no clear outcome. Total waste: Activities that contribute nothing to your work or growth and are purely distractions or time fillers. Examples: mindless scrolling, reading celebrity gossip. Step 3. This is the most important part. Next to each item, honestly estimate how much time you spend on it each day. Don't lie to yourself. This process can be shocking. You might discover that time spent on hardcore work is pathetically small, while the vast majority is devoured by admin and chores and total waste. Step 4. Look at your list and start writing your own prescription. Ask yourself a few questions. Can any of the unnecessary chores be eliminated? Can the essential chores be batched and knocked out in one 30-minute block each day? Can you turn off notifications for the apps that distract you most? Or set usage limits? This simple exercise illuminates the black holes in your schedule. Once you see the problem clearly, you've taken the first step toward reclaiming ownership of your time. The future is here. Are you ready? The survival skill of the AI age. Some might ask, with artificial intelligence becoming so powerful, does any of this still matter? The answer is, it matters more than ever. As deep work predicted, the ability to focus deeply will be the dividing line between those who thrive and those who get left behind in the future economy. We are living in a great paradox. On one hand, the technologies we use daily, like social media, are systematically destroying our most essential human skills: sustained concentration, deep thought, and complex reasoning. On the other hand, the technologies of the future, like AI, will automate and replace all repetitive, routine, and thoughtless jobs. McKinsey estimates that AI could displace up to half of all current job activities in the coming decade. So what jobs can't AI steal? The answer: creativity, critical thinking, strategic decision-making, and complex communication. And here's the paradox. We are being trained by the tools of today to become useless in the world of tomorrow. But within this crisis lies an enormous opportunity. While the majority of people are held captive by their phones, passively sliding toward an obsolete future, what will happen to the small minority who consciously and deliberately train their ability to perform deep work? They will have a competitive advantage that feels like a superpower. In a world where everyone is distracted, focus itself is a form of magic. In an age flooded with shallow content, depth is the rarest and most valuable resource. A report from Microsoft and LinkedIn found that nearly 3/4 of leaders would rather hire a less experienced employee with AI skills than a more experienced one without them. Your future value won't be your past experience, but your ability to learn and create, which is the direct product of deep work. Mastering deep work is no longer just a skill for getting a promotion. It's a survival strategy for keeping your job in the future. 2. Not just for work, but for a life well lived. After all this, you might think deep work is just a strategy for career success. But in closing, I want to suggest it offers something far greater. Ultimately, what we seek is not just greater efficiency, but a more fulfilling and meaningful life. The ancient Stoics pursued eudaimonia, a state of flourishing happiness that comes from living a rational, virtuous life. Zen practitioners seek liberation from deluded thoughts to attain inner clarity and freedom. Deep work is the path to implementing these noble philosophical ideals in our daily lives. It is an active choice, a choice to use our most precious life energy to create and explore, rather than to be depleted by passive reactions and endless noise. The opposite of a deep work life is not just a shallow work life. It is a shallow life. A shallow life is fragmented, reactive, and anxious. Its script is written by the algorithms and notifications on your phone. A deep life is whole, proactive, and serene. Its script is composed by your own inner values. The battle for our attention is, in the end, the battle for the agency over our own lives. So, starting today, when you face a choice to keep splashing in the shallow waves or to look up at the distant stars, remember that your decision determines not only your productivity, but the ceiling of your career and ultimately the height and depth your life can achieve.